If you're just starting out in web development, you might feel like the only websites you can create are those with a dated 90s look. Today, that changes. Get ready to flex your skills because we're going to build one of the most impressive websites you can create using just HTML and CSS. I know you might be a complete beginner, so don't worry, I'll break down every single step, ensuring everything is clear and easy to follow. Before we dive into the coding, let's take a moment to preview the final project. And remember, your likes and subscriptions are a huge support for this growing channel. They help us keep creating content like this. So, thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get started and make something amazing together. Before we begin coding, it's essential to prepare some resources, including images and videos. These can be found in the GitHub repository linked in the description box. Head to the repository, and once you're there, take a moment to give it a star to support the project. After that, locate the two folders within the repository. Download all the files from these folders and organize them on your computer. A good approach is to create a main folder, and within it, separate subfolders for the images and videos. Next, open your preferred code editor. Drag and drop the folder you just organized into the editor. This will make it easier to access and reference the files as we build the project. We'll start by creating two files, one for the HTML structure called index.html, and another for the styling, named style.css. These files will be the foundation of the project. Open the index.html file and set up the basic HTML framework. Be sure to include a title that reflects the purpose of your website. Once that's done, open the file in your browser using a tool like Live Server. This will let you see the changes you make in real time. Inside the body section of the HTML, create a div element with a class name of container. This div will act as a wrapper for all the elements we'll be adding. The first element we need is a video that will serve as the background. To do this, add a video tag inside the container and link the galaxy.mp4 file you downloaded earlier. Make sure the video file is located in the correct folder so the link works seamlessly. To make the video function as a proper background, add the following properties to it: autoplay, loop, muted, and plays inline. These ensure the video starts automatically, plays continuously, has no sound, and works properly on mobile browsers. Additionally, assign the video a class name, such as backvid, so it can be styled later. Now we need to link the CSS file to our project. To do this, go to the head section of your HTML file and include the link to the CSS file. This will ensure that the styles we define are applied to our web page. Once that's done, navigate to the CSS file and start by targeting the body element. The goal here is to remove the default margin and padding that browsers typically add. This gives us a clean slate for styling. Next, choose a font family that suits the design and set the default text color to a light gray. Now move on to styling the container. Set its position to relative to allow precise control over the positioning of child elements. Define its width as 100% and its height as 100 viewport height, or 100 VOH. This ensures the container spans the full height of the screen. For the backvid class, which is the video element, set its position to absolute. Then, align it by setting right and bottom to 0. To make sure the video stays behind other elements, assign it a z-index of -1. At this stage, the video should be correctly positioned as a background. To ensure the video displays perfectly on all screen sizes, we'll use a media query to handle aspect ratios. Start with a max aspect ratio of 16:9. For this condition, set the video's width to auto and its height to 100%. This will keep the video's proportions intact for wider screens. For a min aspect ratio, set the width to 100% and the height to auto. This ensures the video fits well on taller screens without distortion. With these adjustments, the video background will be responsive and look great across different devices and screen sizes. The website is looking great so far. Now let's add a cover to enhance its design. To do this, go to the HTML file and right below the video element, create a div with the class name cover. Next, move to your CSS file. Always place your media queries at the bottom of the style sheet after all other styles. Target the cover class and set its position to fixed. Use the inset property to set the top, bottom, left, and right values to 0. Finally, apply a dark purple color to the cover that complements your design. With the cover in place, let's move on to creating the header section. In the HTML file, below the cover div, add a header element. Inside the header, start by creating a div with the class name left. Within this left div, add an image element for your logo. You can customize this logo to fit your brand. Below the image, add an H2 element where you can include your name or brand name. Next, below the left div, create an unordered list with 3 list items. Each list item should contain an anchor tag. Name these links as follows: About, Skills, and Projects. After the list, add another div with the class name Box Icons. Inside this div, create 3 tags. These will hold social media icons. To add the icons, visit the website boxicons.com. On the Boxicons homepage, click Usage in the top right corner. Scroll down until you see Usage as a font. Copy the code snippet provided there and paste it inside the head tag of your HTML file. Now, go back to Boxicons and search for the social media icons you want to use. For example, start with YouTube. Click on the icon, choose the font option, and copy the code. Then paste it inside one of the P tags in your HTML file. Repeat the process for 2 additional icons of your choice. Once you've added the icons, move to the CSS file to style the header. Now let's style the header to give it a modern and clean appearance. Start by targeting the header itself in the CSS. Set its display to flex to align its child elements neatly, with align items set to center and justify content to set to space between. Add padding of 0 and 30px for spacing and set its height to 70px. Next, choose a white background color for the header and add a blur effect using the backdrop filter property. To make the blur effect stand out, adjust the background color to be slightly transparent. This creates a sleek, frosted glass appearance. To enhance the header, add a subtle box shadow. Use a color with a bit of transparency to keep it soft and elegant. Finally, set the z-index to 999 to ensure the header always displays above other elements. Now, move on to styling the left class inside the header. Set its display to flex and align its items to the center. For the image inside the left class, set its width to 40px and add a margin of 0 and 15px for proper spacing. For the H2 element in the left class, we want part of its text to have a different color. To achieve this, go back to the HTML file and wrap the portion of text you want to style inside a span element. Then, add an inline style to the span and set its color to your special blue. This makes the header more visually appealing. Returning to the CSS, target the unordered list inside the header. Set its display to flex with justify content, set to space between, and give it a width of 30 cent. Add padding of 15px and a border radius of 50px to give it a pill-shaped appearance. Use a transparent dark blue background color and apply a blur effect with backdrop filter. Then enhance it further by adding a box shadow for depth. Next, style the list items by removing their default list style. For the anchor tags inside the list, remove the text decoration, set the color to white, and make the font bold with a font weight of 700. Add a transition effect for smooth animations and give them a margin of 0 and 10px. To create a hover effect, add a text shadow when the user hovers over the links, which makes the interaction more dynamic. Finally, let's focus on the social media icons. Target the box icons div and set its display to flex with a gap of 40px between the icons. For the p tags inside the box icons, set their display to flex, align the items to the center, and justify the content in the center as well. Set their font size to 20px and make them circular by setting both their width and height to 30px. Add a 2-pixel solid border with the special blue color, and applying a border radius of 50%. And set the cursor to pointer for interactivity. For the hover effect, change the background color to blue, the text color to black, and add a box shadow with a blue glow. To make the transition smoother, apply a transition of 0.5 seconds to the icons. Now here's where the fun really begins. We're going to add a black hole video to the center of the header, creating a stunning visual effect. To start, navigate to your HTML file. Just below the header, create a div with the class name black hole box. Inside this div, add a video element and link the blackhole.mp4 file to its source attribute. Make sure to add the following properties to the video: autoplay, loop, muted, and place inline. These settings ensure the video plays automatically, loops seamlessly, has no sound, and works correctly across all devices. Next, move to your CSS file to style the black hole video. Begin by targeting the black hole box class. Set its position to absolute and place it at the top of the page with top 0. Make its width 100% to span the full width of the viewport. Use display flex and justify content center to center the video horizontally within the box. To make sure it stays behind the header, assign it a z-index of -1. Now style the video element inside the black hole box. Set its width to 100% so it scales appropriately with the screen size. To position it at the very top of the page, apply a margin top of 9023.5. At this stage, you might notice that the black hole video is displaying above the background video, disrupting the design. To fix this, we'll blend the two videos together. Inside the black hole box div, use the Mix Blend Mode property and set it to lighten. This creates a beautiful merging effect between the black hole video and the background, making it look phenomenal. You might notice a faint line appearing from the black hole video. Don't worry about that now. We'll address it by adding a hero section next. Now, let's move on to the next section of our project, which is the hero section. Go to your HTML file and below the black hole box div, Create a new section with the class name Hero. This will serve as the main container for this part of the web page. The first part of the Hero section will be the Hero Info div. Inside this div, start by creating another div with the class name Title. For this title, we want to add an icon. Visit boxicons.com, search for the sketch icon, select the font option, and copy the provided code. Paste this code inside the title div. Below the icon, add the corresponding text to complete the title. Once the title is in place, let's create the other parts of the Hero Info section. Below the title div, add an H1 element with the text, providing the best project experience. This headline will serve as the central message of the Hero section. Next, add a P tag below the H1. Include descriptive text that complements the headline. Finally, add a button element as the last part of the Hero Info section. Inside this button, we'll include another icon and some text. Go back to boxicons.com, search for the send icon, and copy its code. Paste the icon code inside the button, followed by the text Contact Me. At this point, all the necessary elements for the Hero Info section are in place. Now, head over to the CSS file to style them. Let's now style the Hero section and bring it to life. Start by targeting the Hero section in the CSS. Set its position to relative to establish its context for absolutely positioned child elements. Make it span the full width of the screen by setting its width to 100% and set its height to 80 VHE for a balanced layout. Use Align Items Center and Justify Content space between to ensure everything inside is aligned neatly and spaced out properly. Next, focus on the Hero Info div. Position it absolutely and place it slightly from the left by setting left 5%. This ensures it sits in a prominent location within the Hero section. Now let's style the individual elements inside Hero Info. Begin with the title class. Set its text color to blue and add padding of 8px 5px for spacing inside. Give it a rounded shape by setting a border radius of 50px and a border of 1px solid using a blue color with slight transparency. Set the width of the title to 240px, apply a specific hexadecimal background color, and add a subtle box shadow for depth. Next, target the H1 inside the Hero Info. Increase its font size to 60px and limit its width to 600px for a structured layout. Set the font weight to 700 and the line height to match at 60px. Add a margin top of 40px and a margin bottom of 30px for proper spacing. Now style the P tag. Set its maximum width to 550px and a line height of 25px to ensure readability. Add a margin bottom of 40px for spacing and set its font size to 20px for a professional look. For the button, style it with a white text color and add padding of 15px 35px. Round the edges by setting a border radius of 10px and add a 1px solid border with a specific color. Use a dark blue background color with slight transparency and add a box shadow for a polished, clickable effect. Change the cursor to a pointer to indicate interactivity. To make the button more dynamic, add a hover effect. When the user hovers over it, increase the box shadow for emphasis. Use a transition effect of 0.3 seconds to make the hover effect smooth. Finally, let's add a gradient text effect to specific parts of the H1. Start by defining an animation within a class named Gradient. Set a linear gradient background that transitions from left to right using specific colors, ensuring the first and last colors are the same for a seamless loop. Set the background size to 200% and apply background clip text and -WebKit background clip text to ensure only the text shows the gradient. Set WebKit text fill color to transparent to hide the background behind the gradient. Define the animation itself with the name animate gradient, which runs for 2.5 seconds, uses a linear timing function, and loops infinitely. To apply this gradient effect, go to the HTML file and locate the H1 inside the hero info. Wrap the text parts you want to animate, like the best and experience, in span elements, and add the gradient class to these spans. This applies the gradient effect to those specific words. Finally, ensure the gradient animation works by adding keyframes that change the background position to 200%. This creates a smooth, flowing gradient effect that looks fantastic and adds a vibrant touch to the design. Let's enhance the hero section by adding an astronaut image. Go back to the HTML file, and below the hero info div, create an IMG element. Link the astronaut.png file to its src attribute and assign it a class name of astronaut. Now move to the CSS file to style the astronaut image. Target the astronaut class and set its position to absolute. Place it towards the right by setting right 5%. Adjust the size by setting its height to 400 px. To seamlessly blend the astronaut image with the background video, apply the Mix Blend Mode property and set it to lighten. This will integrate the image beautifully into the scene. With that complete, let's transition to the final section of our project. In the HTML file, below the hero section, create a new section with the class name About Section. Inside this section, start by creating a div with the class name InfoCard. Each info card will consist of an .h1 element for the title and a p tag for additional details. Once the first card is created, simply copy and paste the info card code 3 more times to create additional cards. Customize the details for each card. For instance, the second card might highlight achievements such as more than 7 technical skills. Once that's done, let's move on to styling the last section of our project in the CSS file. Start by targeting the About section. Set its display property to flex to arrange the info cards side by side. Use justify content space between to evenly distribute them across the section. Add padding of 0-10% to create some spacing on the sides, ensuring the section looks well balanced. Next, target the info card divs. Set their display property to flex and align items to the center for a neat and uniform layout. Limit their maximum width to 120 px to maintain a consistent size for all cards. Now style the H1 inside each card. To give it a dynamic touch, adjust the text gradient animation. Copy the gradient animation code from the previously defined gradient class and paste it here. Then, set the font size to 55 px to make the titles prominent. Add a margin top of 20 px for spacing, and ensure both the top and bottom margins are set to 0 for alignment. For the p tags inside the cards, set the text color to white for readability and adjust the font size to 20 px for a professional and polished look. With these adjustments, the layout and styling of the About section are complete. Next, we'll focus on making the website responsive for tablets and mobile devices. Finally, we'll add a simple reload animation to give the website an engaging finishing touch. Let's make the website fully responsive, starting with adjustments for tablets. For screen sizes smaller than 1000 pixels, we'll tweak some styles. In your CSS file, add a media query for screens under 1000 pixels. First, modify the black hole video by changing its margin top to -20%. Then, adjust the H1 inside the hero info section by setting its font size to 40px and reducing its maximum width to 400px. Next, target the P tag in the hero info and set its maximum width to 300px for better readability. For the hero image, scale it down by setting its height to 300px. In the About section, reduce the padding to 10px and set the width to 90% for a snug fit. Lastly, for the H1 inside the info card, add a slight adjustment by setting its margin left to 5px. These changes ensure the site looks great on tablets. Now let's make it mobile friendly. Add another media query for screens smaller than 700 pixels. First, hide the unordered list in the header by setting its display property to none. For the black hole video, adjust the margin top to 11px. Next, focus on the About section. Set its width to 80% and apply Flex Wrap to ensure the layout adapts to smaller screens. For the hero class, change the flex direction to column for a vertical arrangement. In the hero info, adjust the bottom positioning to 10px. Scale the hero image further by setting its height to 200px. Move it slightly by positioning it 100px from the right and 70px from the top. You might notice an issue where the container doesn't cover the entire section that's not in the viewport. This happens because its height is set to 100 VH. Fix this by targeting the container class and setting its height to 100%. With these updates, your website now looks fantastic on all screen sizes, from tablets to mobile devices. The final step is adding a reload animation, which will be a fun and simple enhancement to make the website even more engaging. To add reload animations to our project, we'll use the AOS Animate on Scroll library. Start by searching AOS on Google and clicking on the AOS page. This library offers a wide range of reload animations. To access the library, go to the top right corner of the AOS website and click the GitHub icon. This will take you to the library's GitHub repository. Once there, scroll down until you find the basic installation section. Copy the code for the library's style sheet and paste it into the head section of your HTML file. Then, copy the script code and paste it inside the body section below all your other elements. Now, head back to the AOS website to explore the available animations. Let's start by adding a fade down animation to our header. Copy the relevant code snippet and paste it inside the header tag in your HTML. To customize it further, add the data AOS duration attribute and set it to 2000 milliseconds. Reload the project in your browser, and you'll see the header animate as the page loads. Next, apply the same reload animation to the black hole video. Copy the fade down code and paste it inside the black hole box div. It looks great already. Let's enhance the hero info section by adding a fade right animation. Copy the code from the AOS site, paste it into the hero info div, and set the animation duration to 1000 milliseconds. To add a bit more detail, copy the same fade right animation for the H1 inside the hero info, but increase the duration to 3000 milliseconds for a smooth, gradual effect. Finally, let's make the hero image pop by adding a zoom in animation. On the AOS site, scroll down to find the zoom in animation, copy its code, and paste it into the hero image tag. Set the animation duration to 2000 milliseconds for a dramatic effect. Congratulations, my friend. You've successfully completed this amazing project. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and enjoyable. If you faced any challenges along the way or found any part of the explanation unclear, please leave a comment and let me know. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next exciting project.